ammunition until the color of a Mexican no more significance than the color of his eyes. It's a war. Basically, equality to our regards to race, nation, religion, or ignorance. Pursued, never attained. Everywhere is war. Rumors of war. Until the people figure out that ignorance is the only enemy. It's a war. South Africa. Human bondage everywhere. Whoa. Everywhere is war. Rumors of war. War in the east. War in the west. War up north. War down south. Blood minerals, war, blood diamonds, rumors of war, but there are no rumors of war. Somebody's good to be alive right now. There's no rumors of war. Ain't no rumors. Ain't no rumors. Ain't no rumors of wars nowhere. It's just war everywhere, and there's some great reasons. There's some great reasons. Let me get ready to get going here. I'ma say it. Somebody has to say it, so I'm gonna say it. Gosh darn it. Dang doohickey. Dang it. Assange, man, not bad. I done had it. Finished. Fine. Finished. Yesterday I was finished. I had to flip out. I did a weekend video yesterday. That wasn't a video. I was just yelling. Sometimes you got to yell at people. Sometimes you just got to yell. You know what? I couldn't listen too well unless my mama was yelling at me sometimes. She realized I was hard of hearing. And hang on. I was just yelling. This Assange trial. Oh my goodness. Assange, man, not bad. Okay, Orange man, not bad. Obama man, not bad. Merkel man, woman, whatever the bad, not bad. May, not bad. We stupid. That's what it is. We're stupid. There's only one fight since the beginning of the human history race thing, whatever we are. 98% monkey thing. Whether or not it's okay to rob people, whether or not it's okay to be honest, the Julian Assange trial has nothing to do with Julian Assange. I don't know why people are still on this. It's blowing my mind. I think Assange derangement syndrome might be passing Trump derangement syndrome. I think it might be. I don't know what the hell is going on with these people. I love y'all to death, but today I might have to cut. Do you realize that the Assange trial is about one thing? It's about taking Obama's national, and by Obama administration, I mean his administration, which is the same as the Trump administration, same as the Bush administration, same as the Clinton administration. It's all the damn same bankers running on everything and tell those men exactly what they got to do. All it is taking their war on whistleblowers globally. That's it. You got a war on whistleblowers locally, and they want to take it globally. What's happening right now has nothing to do with Assange. Did you hear some of the details about what they're doing to this man? They moved him 5 times. They moved his prison cell 5 times before he had to speak the next morning. 5. Have you ever heard of sleep deprivation? Would you go to work if you had to wake up 5 times and change 5 beds 5 times? You wouldn't even go to work. And what you do? You're not fighting global war. You're not fighting global war. Y'all know you're making burgers. What y'all doing for work today? What y'all doing for slavery today? You're an accountant, got some spreadsheets. death by PowerPoint, whatever you're doing, I don't know, working some concrete. You know, this man got to go and protect the freedom of the matrix or protect the freedom within the matrix. That's all this is. Do it. The whole Julian Assange trial is about whether or not you have access to take a red pill or blue pill. That's the whole trial. I got this fantasy picture here. You know why I got a fantasy picture? Because you're not even allowed to take a picture in a courtroom. This is how much of a kangaroo court all your courts are. All your judges and courts and lawyers are all just criminals. That is a criminal organization. Every Supreme Court, every court, that's all it is. Outside of admiralty law, it's always criminal activity. And they claim the ability to dictate whether or not you get to know what's true. I don't understand why people think there are multiple sides on this. It has anything to do with Assange. It has to do whether or not people own information or if the state does. That's it. Do the people own information or do the state? And I'm already fussing. I ain't even got started. I just sometimes, maybe I got some sleep deprivation happening over here. I had to yell yesterday and fussing today. Hang on, I gotta find my happy sad faces. I don't see my happy sad faces. Did I turn it off? Oh, it's right there. Hang on, make sure it's at the top. Good morning, everybody. How y'all? Did y'all have a good weekend? So, but they're basically, you know, and it's funny because you can't trust anything in the media. Like you cannot trust the news at all. I say it every single day. You can't trust anything in the news. And someone say, well, you know, that was in the news that they've been torturing Assange. I said, I know, but we already knew they were torturing him. We just didn't have a news report releasing the fact that whistleblowers from the CIA told us that this is how we torture people. We keep them up, we slap them with ochre, we drip water on their faces, we electrocute them. This is what we do, right? This is for war. It's to keep the honesty, to keep honest things from making it into the public domain. There are only two sides on that fight. And so all the news did was just confirm what we already knew. We already knew they torture that man like they're torturing Khalif Browder. That's all it is. It's no different. It's no different. Julian Assange is the new Khalif Browder internationally. Why? Because they're going to torture him, right? Khalif Browder, they put him in a gang unit. They tortured him so he would cop a plea. They do that to these little minority and poor white kids and immigrant kids all over this country all damn day. And they want to take that local level of torture because they want to own what's profitable and own what's true. You know, if you're being beaten up in a gang unit and you're 15 years old, hell yeah, you're gonna cop a plea. And that's what they do. Got some tapping? All right, well, you know what? I got my wrong one. I'm gonna put this one over here. It's the same thing. There's no difference. You know, what Khalif Browder was fighting, oh, I see what's happening. I went all the way in. Let me know if that fixed it. You know, what Khalif Browder was fighting, the same thing. Same damn thing. Same damn thing. Powerful people who dictate you don't have the ability to know what's true. And it boggles my mind that Assange man bad. That's as bad as Orange Man. I think it might be worse. It might be worse because you're talking about international efforts to shut down journalists from promoting what's true. That's all it is. Because the minute that man is prosecuted, the minute he's extradited, it won't be one journalist internationally who will say a damn thing. And the shame and the sad part about it is, it's probably not us who have to clean up after this. It's probably not us who have to clean up after a global ignorant effort to allow the state to own what's true and false in the news. It's gonna be our kids. So, you know, all you people out there fighting Assange, man, bad. Just teach your kids how to shoot, because I'm teaching mine how to shoot too. Because they're not gonna have any other choices. You know, we have the ability to end this nonsense peacefully, or we can just keep playing this stupid game, right? Principles, people fight on principles. My goodness, I don't know why I have to keep saying that. Ignore the identities. Orange man bad, Obama man bad, black man bad, immigrant man bad, white man bad, Britain man bad, Christian man bad, Muslim. I don't know what the hell is wrong with you people. I love y'all to death, but we need to grow the hell up. You know, grow the hell up. I'm sorry. We gotta go. Y'all, this is real. This is real. This is not about likes and subscriptions and profitability. This is about the future of the human freaking race, whether or not we're gonna keep playing this game with these bankers that own every damn thing. Whether or not they have the ability to own what's true in the media. It's insanity to me. It's insanity. Yeah, it's insane. And they're no bad people. These are all good people. It's just ignorance is the only fight. All we fight is the ignorance because they play all sides. They own the narrative. They own the information. They own everything in the media. Now they want to own the ability for whistleblowers to say what's true. That was Assange's greatest crime. He created a website to allow whistleblowers to put truthful things in the public domain. That's it, which is huge. That makes him enemy number one to global bankers who are running all the wars, stealing all the minerals, so you can get that rank. Get that diamond, baby. That's what I was posting this morning. We have a little fun. I don't know if we have some fun today, but just that there's no non-blood diamonds. Ain't nothing. They don't exist. This is a conflict mineral free diamond. Yeah, that is not how that works. You know that's not how that works. You know, every land is stolen on blood. Okay, every mineral that comes from that land is robbed on blood, and you bought it because you was in love. That's a conflict blood diamond on your finger. It's a representation of slavery and colonization and global hegemony, right? That's what that is. There's no such thing as a conflict mineral-free diamond. I gotta post something real quick. Who said this? Bill Keller said this. One of the reasons classified information leaks out is because so much information is classified. I gotta post that real quick. Bang. All right, come on. How's everybody doing? What side y'all on? Blue pill? Well, it's actually not blue pill or red pill. It's whether or not people have the ability to take the red pill. Because if we don't know what's true, then you don't even have the ability to take the red pill. If you don't have global freedom of speech for journalists, then you won't even know there's a choice between red and blue. You'll own everything. That's the only fight. The only fight is you're fighting with the agents or you're fighting for freedom and justice. Let me see. What Christine said, we're all bad. We are all bad, Christine. Every last one of us is ignorant. So if you're feeling like emotional because you were like, I don't know, fighting the orange man bad thing, don't feel bad. I'm ignorant too. We all are. They own everything, people. They own the news. They own everything. All we have is common sense. That's it. Common sense and observation. Observe nature and observe your deep state. Observe your kings and your lords and you figure out what they're up to. All they're up to is rolling out a war on whistleblowers worldwide so they can own a matrix. That's the beautiful thing about living today is we actually can see them constructing the matrix. They're putting the bricks in. They're putting the bricks in, and what I'm saying on the whole Assange thing is don't help them. don't carry the wheelbarrow for them. Don't go, we're building the matrix. We got to can somebody run to Home Depot and get some mortar and some we need some more Portland cement. And you know, people are like, ooh, Assange man bad. I go, Assange man bad. And they run on to Home Depot. They come back with we done got you a whole bunch of mortar. Oh, Assange was CIA and and I was just like, you know what? I saw that too. Maybe Assange is CIA, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to the principle of free speech. It doesn't mean anything. And besides the fact, you know, they could have made that up too. They can make you anything they want. Daniel at the top right there, if they want, they can steal Daniel's identity. They can change all his pictures on the internet. They can flip his laptop. They can put black people, family all on his laptop, and Daniel will be black, and you wouldn't even know the difference. Okay? They own all the media. They own all the websites. They have data centers of people just building websites to build narratives on the internet. Okay? We don't know what's true. We have no idea. All we know is the kings and lords are always lying and building a matrix. Please don't help them build it. Please, that's all I'm saying. So good morning, everybody. How y'all doing this morning? Whew, there's no such thing as conflict-free minerals. All the minerals are stolen. Wall Street is a black market. Stick with the principles, people. They just need to keep people poor to keep robbing from them. Say, oh, well, we're hard workers in the West. No, you're not. You robbed everybody. We robbed everybody. We lucked up and we born in the right country, born in the most dastardly country. That's all. We're not better. We're not better. We don't work harder. In fact, we work less harder. And we're not better because unfortunately, we were standing on the throats of the whole world. Poor children all over the world holding us up. That's conflict. What is the name of that book? Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Just read it. Just read the book. Read the book. It'll tell you how your world works. Just read the book. That's why you feel so good in the West, is because we rob everybody and they give us this narrative, the kings and the lords. Not just money and gold, it's diamonds too. Why? Because they got more of them. They would say diamonds are of value. How do these commercials go? What's the name of some of these jewelers? Diamond is where a woman's heart is. Diamonds are how you show love. And I'm like, y'all know y'all listen to psychopaths, right? Psychopathic people are just telling you what they have the most of that's what's most valuable. Who was that? You know what? I'm not even going to. Yeah, I am. I'm going to go there. Who was that guy who didn't kill himself? The guy he's still alive. He rolling somewhere with the CIA somewhere. Epstein. And when he was the one who was rolling his sperm out everywhere, right? Because his sperm was more valuable than all the other sperm on the planet. So he was like, he had this eugenics or some kind of weird DNA project where he was like wanted to inseminate all these people with his sperm because it's better than everybody else because he's the better. He almost did it too. Some doctors did that. Wasn't there a case not too long ago where a doctor was like flipping out the donated sperm for his sperm? So you went in there, I want my husband to be black. I want my husband to be tall with blonde hair. And so I want my donor, my baby to look like that. And the doctor was flipping out all the sperm for his. That's what the elites are doing with the diamonds, people. They just have more of them. And you know, like we were talking about it this morning, you know diamonds have no value, right? They literally have no value. Useless. It's like a piece of glass. The only difference is there's sand all over this planet. Diamonds ain't all over this planet. Just as you need to get all the sand out your yard so you can put some grass and some soil in, if diamonds were everywhere, they would have no value. They trick us and they fool us and we're slaves and we go for it. We fall for that nonsense. What I have is better than what you have. So in order to show your wife some love, you got to buy her what I have. You got to buy from me. This is how ignorant we are. All right. Yeah, there you go. Diamonds are girls' best friends, Christine. There you go. You know what, Christine? That's how they play us too. Everything is about men. Oh, I got to show you a picture now. Now I got to go to a picture from the weekend. Brother Justin posted this. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. Everything is psychology, Christine. You know this. And all they do is they play us. So whatever the girl wants, that's what's going to happen. We fight wars for women, right? And so that, y'all see this. Justin posted this weekend. I got to show you because some of y'all didn't see it. Whatever the woman wants, that's what's going to happen. The true rulers of this world, they're not the ones on TV. They're not. The true rulers of this world are the ones that men will fight wars for. Men will change their religion for. They change their political parties for, and their blood diamonds they'll look past to go buy. Even though people in that country are being starved and kept a third world nation so we can steal their cheap minerals for big corporations. That's what it is. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. That's all you got to do. That's why all the ads in my country, they all got people leaning over cars. And like, what does that have to do with anything? You got these big bazoomas leaning over the hood of a car. Well, actually, you know what? I take that back. Because that is actually how it works. That actually is, that's accurate. When you have car commercials with half naked women, that actually is how that works. I'm sorry. That is, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. Listen, the reason I'm by myself, I got my hoopty. Shoot, if I had me a nice slick Benz BMW, oh, it would just be some boobies hanging right over the hood. That's just how that works. You're like, hey girl, get off my car. I gotta go to slavery. That's how that actually, so it's true with car companies. It's probably true with the house commercials, it's probably true. Well, women want to be safe. They live in a patriarchal world and they know big house and fast car, they can be a little safer. So that actually makes some sense. But everything else, like toothpaste, why you need boobies to sell toothpaste? Why you need like a 6-pack to sell some drugs? Why you need, it didn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Let me turn this music off, get going. Have a good weekend. Diamonds. All right, thank you, Christine, for that. This is why I love doing this. If y'all came here, I got to put my disclaimer in here real quick. If y'all came here for some polished finish, you want to learn something, this is the wrong place. This is the place that we come where we say things and we try to stitch together what the hell is happening in the Matrix. Because you got people out there, Assange, man, bad. Boy, I tell you what, Assange derangement syndrome is at an apocalyptic high, people. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Oh, Lord have mercy, I don't get it. Whew. I think the diamond thing that's interesting. That is actually interesting because they literally create a fantasy value for something and we just go along with it because we're stupid as the day is long. I like the example from the lecture. They said asteroid because they said there are diamond planets out there and they're diamond asteroids. You know, like if an alien came here from Diamond Planet and he saw you walking around proud with a big 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 carat ring on your finger. It's like, oh, my man bought me this. My baby, my boo. You know, that alien was like, that ain't had no value. That's not a sign of love. That's just a sign of what your planet didn't have a whole lot of. You know that, right? on another planet. Like if diamonds crash landed here, big asteroid landed, diamonds in everybody's yard, just trash. Things can't grow, you can't get to work because diamonds in the way. You know, snow's like little diamonds. Say diamonds were everywhere like snow. You'd hate diamonds. You couldn't stand them. But there's no value. They have no value. But then again, I think that's part of what this whole NASA whistleblower thing is about. Like whistleblower, because that's what all this is about. It's just about whether or not you have access to the truth or not. That's what the whole Assange trial is about. Whether or not you're allowed to know what the real world is like, or only allowed to know what the bankers and the big corporations and governments want to show you. That's all it's about. They don't show you the whole Space Force thing that they've been making these flying crafts for a long time, probably since the 40s they've been making them. Where they got them from, that's up to you to debate about. But I think if they actually let you have free energy, they can tell you about free energy, but then you're too stupid to fight for it. You're gonna fight some other poor people. But if you actually looked at that TR-3B, say I need free energy, it means you could fly to Diamond Rock. And you could just get in your little spaceship, levitation, Jetson, spatially sprocket, flying craft from the Jetsons. Then you can just fly on up there and get yourself some diamonds. Then you won't have to buy from the criminal elite on Wall Street. So that's part of probably why they keep free energy out of the mainstream discussion. They'll talk about aliens all day, but they will not talk about the fact that that's a free energy craft that you could fly there and get you some oil, get you some diamonds. You need to get married. All you got to do is fly up to the asteroid, get you a little pickaxe in your aircraft. You flying on up there in your T3RB patent release anti-gravity craft that was on the freaking gun camera, the F-18, flying up there to Diamond Planet and just open the window, got open the glass. Because have y'all seen the Jetsons? I'm not talking to my son. Have y'all seen the Jetsons? You got to open the glass because on the Jetson, they're UFOs. They got a little glass. You got to open. You don't want to open it too much because you let that air and it's going to kill you. It's dark matter and other stuff. Get your hand out to you, a little pickaxe. Get yourself like a 20-karat diamond and close the glass and get on back to Earth. You know, go find yourself a K Jewelers or somebody and get that 20-karat diamond. All right, I'm done. There's no such thing as blood-free, conflict-free diamonds, okay? They've stolen. They stole them. The only one I don't know about is Canada. All right, so I'm not sure. Y'all can help me real quick because I got to answer a question for somebody. I don't know every damn thing. I know the world was colonized and all the minerals come from bloody countries where we killed everybody and stole everything. But I think somebody was living in Canada when we got to Canada. I'm pretty sure. I don't know, some Eskimos, some Native Americans, because they're still up there killing the Native Americans, and they didn't come out of nowhere. You know, that's still more important to me than the cocoa virus, the fact that, what is the number up to? Some tens of thousands of Native American women are still missing and got the whole world talking about cocoa virus. I'm not worried about cocoa virus. I don't give two damns about cocoa virus if somebody's stealing Native American women out of Canada because they want the diamond mines. They want to keep them. They don't want to share the resources. You know, and you ain't no better than nobody in Africa. You ain't no better than nobody in the Middle East, and nobody in Latin America, and no indigenous people in Canada, okay? They're kept poor so we can steal their minerals. So you can go to work and get a job and have to spend that money to get that diamond. Because that's what slavery is all about. Living in the age of spin. Everything gets twisted and we're left to navigate the rabbit hole. That's it, Susan. And you know, and when you're in the rabbit hole, let's think about it from an analogy perspective. You got to navigate the rabbit hole. You can't really trust everything that you see because they own the media. They own everything. They own the newspaper. They own the journals. They own all that. And the journalists who want to speak up, they won't speak up because they know they'll get shot and killed by a deep state because you're still screaming, Assange man bad. All you can do is, how do you get out of the rabbit hole? You got to go up. That's all you know, go up. Like on the principle, right? Ignore how things feel. Ignore, you feel a little water here, you feel some roots over here. As long as you know you're climbing up in the right direction, you know the right direction, eventually you're gonna get out that rabbit hole. So I think the things in the world are that way too. You can't trust the news. You can't trust anything in the news. All you can trust is your common sense. And if you know, it's like when you're drowning, and this is like a Navy SEAL thing. When you're drowning, because I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area, I know some of the deep state people y'all trying to promote to keep ruling the world. But I know some of their dragoons. We Naval SEAL training. When you're underwater, they blindfold you, they drop you in the water, you don't know which way to swim. Like, this is training for when they drop you out of the airplane at nighttime in dark waters, you don't know where to swim. to kill some government, some people that found some freedom or some socialism or something, to murder the people, they got to drop you out that airplane at night. When you land underwater, you blow bubbles to know which way is up. If that bubble's hitting your hand here or there, then that's the way you swim, and eventually you're going to find the top of the water. So when it comes to modern days, you got to go on principle, people. Go on principle. Do human beings have a right to know what's happening in their world? Hell yes. This has always been my mainstay. You can't have any secrecy. You have any secrecy, then we're all going to make bad decisions, because the people who control that information is going to control your decision, right? That's a slave. That's a shackle. But I will say this. I will say that we can't do that overnight. I get that. I get the CIA off my booty cheeks. You're not overnight. You got to have some secrets. We're not ready. Like, we need a goal of no secrets, right? Like, I can be practical when I want to be serious. You know, we can't just overnight say, okay, here's American databases. We're just going to give everybody here's Russia, you had some. China, this is how you make a UFO. And Colombia, this is how you make a death ray. And Iraq, this is how you make a 5G. Y'all can have all of it. We die tomorrow. They hate us. Y'all, they hate us. The whole, like, we got to be practical. Be honest. If we live in a time where the whole world hates us, you won't see it on TV, because they don't put the citizens that hate us on TV. They put the governments like, yeah, we're going to work with Americans. We're going to bring out some freedom. We're going to help people and world peace and blah, 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 feed the children, all that nonsense. You won't put the real people on TV like, nope, that's that puppet government they put in place. Stick with the principle. We got to know what's true. You got to know what side of the bench to be on. You got to know what's true. It's like a wedding. Think of this Julian Assange trial like a wedding. Think of like a wedding. Make sure you sit on the right side. Just sit on the right side, because the pastor might stop. I did that once. The pastor might stop mid. Yeah. Is that a funeral? Is that a wedding? Oh, it's both his funerals and the weddings. Interesting. The court kind of works that way too, but we won't go there. Just make sure you're sitting on the right side of things, right? You sit on Neo's side. You're talking about freedom and the matrix. Let everybody know it's true. Stop controlling people with journalism and the media and acronym agencies that go and murder journalists who post truthful information. I want to jump straight into the news, because I think we need to talk about this one man who's actually fighting. He's actually fighting global power. Well, he's not really fighting right now. He's kind of being starved and sleep deprived and stuff like that, but he did, right? He created a website to allow whistleblowers to blow the whistle. And that was the most evil thing you can do to people who control the narrative. They don't want their monkeys finding out what the hell they're up to. Do you like whistleblowing? You like to hear truthful things? Then you need to make sure you sit on the right side of this and stop saying this Assange man bad nonsense. I'm going over here real quick. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing this morning? I just want to show you something real quick. And this is where it all started. It started with the Obama administration. It did. He didn't do it. He was told to do it. But no, actually started with Bush. I take that back. They're just rolling out a war on whistleblowers worldwide. For the same reason they get these, is that Chris Lewis? Oh, Chris Lewis. I had an analogy this morning. For the same reason they get these little poor kids to cop a plea, Khalif Browder, they torture them. They put them in the gang unit so they'll cop a plea so you can get them quickly out of, jail, and put them in prison. Get him sentenced. The same reason why they're torturing Assange with changing his bed 5 times a night and not letting him get any sleep. Because sleep deprivation, you're not going to defend yourself. You're going to just go with whatever gets you out of that torture. How long did they torture Khalif Browder? For 3 years? 3 years. Same damn thing. They just want to take that under the Obama administration and roll that out worldwide. If you can torture people into copping a plea, admitting their guilt or not defending themselves, that's what they need to do. And that's where this started.
Between whistleblowers who leaked to the press and government officials determined to protect secrets. This was a major battleground during the Bush administration and has been heating up again under President Obama. And as the new documentary, The War on Whistleblowers, makes clear, many journalists are concerned.
One of the reasons that so much classified information leaks out is that there is so much classified information.
But a spy is not a mid-level bureaucrat who notices tens of millions.
I want to address that real quick. I posted that quote. The reason that classified information leaks out is because there's so much damn classified information. They didn't classify to build the matrix and the false reality that we have, from false fossil fuels to false non-blood diamonds to false not blood coltan and lithium. They built up this whole lie of a world, and it's just so much of it is just falling out. You know people who like lie so much they can't tell the truth. And after a while they can't check their lies. Lies just start falling out their mouth like bones, and you start catching like you've been lying your whole life. You've been lying the whole marriage. You've been lying the whole time I've been dating you. Now it's just falling out your mouth. You've been lying since I hired you. They got so many lies, they can't keep the lies in control. They start falling out their mouths. That's what I think that free energy device is. That's what I think that UFO is. I think that's what these whistleblowers are doing. You have so many people who know that you got these DARPAs and deep state secrets, and the world's being destroyed, the world's burning, the waters are rising, we're destroying ecosystems, the climate's changing, so they got you fighting the weather instead of fighting the fact that changing the climate is profitable. That's the other part of it. Is that weather geoengineering. They can't allow you to have whistleblowers telling you about what they're doing with the weather. Why? Because for one simple reason. Two things to think about. Changing the climate causes conflict, and all conflicts are profitable. Think about it from that perspective. All conflicts are possible. All governments make money on conflict, whether it's political parties or people running for water, whether it's people can't grow any food, they need to move to start a war. All governments make profit. All powerful systems, all banks, they all make money from conflict, and climate change causes conflict. So going to the people who make profit from conflict to fight the climate is the dumbest thing you could do. But once again, that's the whole, secret weather engineering technology that nobody's really allowed to talk about. You talk about it, it's a crime.
Billions of dollars going down a rat hole somewhere, and after notifying his superiors and getting nowhere, eventually drops a dime and calls a newspaper. That's a whistleblower, that's not a spy.
I had to fly across the country and meet people in sort of unmarked hotel rooms in order to try to get the details of that story. And it does not feel kind of like America, land of the free press.
And joining us now for his first TV interview about Greenwald, founder and director of Brave New Films and the producer of War on Whistleblowers, Free Press, and the National Security State. Thanks for coming in. What you don't demonstrate in this documentary, it seems to me, is that journalists are getting fewer stories from confidential sources as a result of what you describe as a war.
That's absolutely correct. We weren't able to have...
Explain that. So fewer people are whistleblowing because there's a war on whistleblowers, and this is back in the United States in the Obama administration. So now fewer people globally, fewer journalists, fewer people who work for these MI6s, deep state, big corporations, destroying the planet, governments lying to their people, starting wars, lying about what they're starting wars about, are coming forward because they know once you have a dragnet of interconnected agents, if you will, that work for the people who are starting all the wars and holding all the secrets, will come and can arrest you in any country at any time, under US law or under British law, under Western laws, anywhere you are. Nobody say the truth. And that's all they want. They just want to shut up people saying the truth.
Followed through on everything. But we hope by having these incredible journalists speak out and call attention to the fact that literally the Espionage Act is being used against whistleblowers. Calling whistleblowers spies is really, in many ways, beyond the pale of anything we've seen from any other administration.
Now, you're a liberal. There's no secret about it.
Like free energy, right? They criminalize free energy, and that's why you don't have it. You're at work right now. They criminalize that with the, what was that called? The Invention Security Act. So you can't make free energy. You make free energy, all your documents, your notes, the things your kid does, everything that he wrote down, where he put the magnets together, made the wheel to constantly spin. The reason why you don't see that on YouTube, because the minute you put that on YouTube, you will go to prison. They have a certain section of the prison called the CMU. They will put you in a place where they put the worst criminals, right? They call them the influencers. If you make something that can influence and control or affect the global power structure, that's where they put you. You see what I'm saying? They've criminalized honesty and being truthful. Anything that they want to use to control the matrix of this human farm they have all over the world, all they have to do is criminalize. It's that simple.
At that, you come from things from a left-wing point of view, but you are disappointed, I think the film clearly suggests, in President Obama for ramping up prosecutions in this area.
President Obama is doing a terrible disservice to democracy, to free speech, and to the power and importance of both whistleblowers and journalists. And
he's doing his job. He did his job. And Trump is like high five. High five! Can we get Obama and Trump together? I want a video, because they're following each other. When it comes to the war on whistleblowers, they got that high five together. So, because he's backing them up. He's backing them up because that's his job. His job is not for you. His job is to do what the power wants him to do, which is to build a matrix for all the people. There is no orange man bad. There's no Obama man bad. There's no Assange man bad. It's common sense. Do the people own what's true, or does the state own what's true? That's it. Are we going to live in some sort of free information age, or are we going to keep living in the matrix?
And as Jane Mayer and Dana Priest say, and many others in the film, he's gotten too close to the CIA. And the national security state, as we know, is an enormous, powerful entity. The film tries to connect those dots and show this is not an accident.
Should government be able to keep some classified secrets?
Yeah, that's not an argument. No sane person is going to disagree.
I'm gonna punish you with that. No, because only sane people will stand on the principle of no secrets. But what he said is true, which is you can't turn off the secrets overnight. We all gonna die if we do, because the world hates us. You have to feed the people first, and that's my speculation. Somebody mentioned direct democracy earlier. That's my stance. Is, we get a direct democracy. That's one of the peaceful ways to say, okay, now we're going to feed the world. Feed the world, build houses for them, give them pools and puppies, maybe some kittens, take care of their basic bare needs, how Christ told y'all to do, or Joshua. And once you do that, people won't hate you as much. Then you can have no secrets. I think the goal has to be absolutely no secrets by corporations and government, but there's a process to get there. So I have to agree with the FBI, I guess, in that particular setup. I have to agree with the security, because the world hates us. We built a world that hates us, and we can't overnight just flip the switch and turn off all secrecy. So I can be practical when it comes to that. So I don't want to get on to Assange. I just wanted to draw the picture of where we are, draw the picture of how we got here. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. And now we need to stop letting the deep state use the rock to beat the poorest people in the world over the head with it.
Clear eyes transforms red and irritated to bright in a blink, itchy and dry to
And that's another criminal commercial right there. You know how they use pretty people for commercials? How come they can't use normal Americans? That's not a normal American. Normal Americans don't have faces like that. They got bumps and dots and hair growing out of places not supposed to be hair. But once again, that's just like putting boobies on a car. Consumerism.
Not espionage, Chris. Espionage, he's not stealing.
Let's go back to the beginning. Chris Hedges, knock it out.
Welcome to On Contact. Today we discuss the opening of the extradition hearing of Julian Assange in London with Joe Lauria, the editor of Consortium News.
It is technically in the Espionage Act. There is a section there. It's totally unconstitutional, needs to be challenged. If Julian should come to the U.S., I hope as lawyers do challenge this, it butts up against the First Amendment, and that is that any person who's unauthorized cannot possess or disseminate classified information. That would be thousands of journalists over the decades. That would be a citizen who just retweeted a WikiLeaks document or emailed it to his friend. They have illegal, because it's still classified. Even if WikiLeaks has published it, it's still classified. So you're not allowed to send it to somebody else. This is how absurd it is. But why are they going after him?
No, that's not how absurd it is. How absurd it is your kid goes to school, he's a savant. He's a Michio Kaku, and he comes home and makes a free energy battery device. He goes to prison. They lock him under the CMU because he's holding classified information. Although how that'll work, that's not how to go down. Your kid will go to foster care and you'll go to prison because you got classified information in your house because your kid made a free energy device writing on crayon.
It's not espionage, Chris. Espionage, he's not stealing documents to give to an enemy government and for money. Unless the public is the enemy, he was giving the information to the public. This is sedition, is what they're really going after.
Because the public is the enemy. Do you get that? The public is the enemy. There's a difference between somebody who is an enemy of the state and an enemy of the people. and a state that can be an enemy of the people. You get what I'm saying? I don't have any issues with the enemies of the state because I'm not the state. I have no interest in the state. And the state, they oppress me. They don't give me rights. They don't let me free speech. I don't get no Second Amendments. I don't have I own land. I got to pay taxes on every damn thing. I don't give two damns who enemy of the state because the state doesn't respect me. So why would I respect the state? Enemies of the people, I got a challenge with. Assange is not an enemy of the people. Define the difference. Assange just told you, gave a mechanism to allow whistleblowers to tell you what's true. That's all he did. That's all he did. The greatest crime in history. He is a proponent of giving information to the people, which makes him an enemy of the state. That should let you know where you should be standing on this side of the marriage, funeral, wedding, court trial thing. Kangaroo court.
And we've had two sedition acts in the history of the U.S., one in 1898 and one in 1918. Both of them only lasted about 3 years and were repealed. And also here the British sedition laws were repealed. But this is what we're really seeing here. They're going after a guy who is threatening their interests.
The private security firm Undercover Global is being investigated by Spain's High Court for allegedly providing the CIA with audio and video recordings of the meetings WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange had with his attorneys and other visitors when the publisher was in the Ecuadorian embassy in London. The security firm, hired by the Ecuadorian embassy, also reportedly photographed the passports of all of Assange's visitors. It is accused of taking visitors' phones, which were not permitted in the embassy, and opening them, presumably in an effort to intercept calls. It reportedly stole data from laptops, electronic tablets, and USB sticks, all required to be left at the embassy reception area. It allegedly compiled detailed reports on all of Assange's meetings and conversations with visitors, and apparently at the behest of the CIA, also allegedly spied on Ecuadorian diplomats who worked in the London embassy. All of the surveillance material is in the hands of the U.S. prosecutors in London, currently attempting to extradite Assange to the United States, mocking the very concept of the rule of law. The prosecution and British judge have tried and condemned Assange in advance, a process no different from what we do in Guantanamo Bay or what Joseph Stalin did in the Lubyanka. Joining me by video link from London is Joe Lauria, the editor of Consortium News, who is covering the Assange hearing. So, Joe, I want to begin with Undercover Global, and you have reported about this in Consortium News, because there's physical evidence. There were video and audio tapes leaked to La Repubblica, the newspaper in Italy, and El País, the newspaper in Spain. So this is not, we have the material. In any functioning judicial system, this stuff, the material would have invalidated the hearing itself.
Almost immediately, Chris, if this were a normal hearing, and it's not, obviously. You have the prosecuting government eavesdropping on the defense preparations between the defendant and his attorneys. It's total violation of attorney-client privilege. And again, it's the government that's prosecuting him. The CIA is part of the same government that's trying to get him extradited and put into on trial in Alexandria, Virginia. So this would be, I mean, you can't imagine an easier case for a judge to throw out than this. Of course, they didn't put forward, they being Assange's lawyers, did not put forward a motion to dismiss at this point based on this. But the judge, Vanessa Barreza, the district judge, has allowed this information about what happened with UC Global, spying on Julian Assange and all his visitors, to be admissible when the next phase happens in May, when this starts up again, when evidence will be introduced and witnesses will come, including David Morales, the owner of this company, Undercover Global, is apparently on the witness list. The defense wants him to come. So this will become an issue. Whether it has any effect on the outcome is to be determined. I want to point out that, go back to Daniel Ellsberg's trial, when it was discovered that the government had raided his psychiatrist's office, had bugged his phone, that the judge in the case had been bribed with the possible FBI directorship if he got the outcome, desired outcome. The case was thrown out. This is a different time, Chris, back then. This is as egregious or as that, and this has not been thrown out, and it may not work to throw it out, but it really should, because it's you can not imagine a more egregious violation than that of the rights of the defendant.
Joe, I want to talk a little bit about what the prosecution has alleged. This is James Lewis, acting for U.S. authorities. He told the court, and I quote, the U.S. is aware of sources whose redacted names and other identifying information was contained in classified documents published by WikiLeaks, who subsequently disappeared. And then Lewis adds, although the U.S. can't prove at this point that their disappearance was the result of being outed by WikiLeaks.
Yeah, well, Mark Summers, I was there that day, I heard that. Mark Summers, the attorney for Assange, made it very clear. He went through the entire thing. It took him several hours. I could only summarize by saying he demolished this idea that Julian Assange had endangered informants. First, I want to add, there's no statute. When you look at the indictment, and all of the statutes he allegedly have broken are listed at the top of the indictment, his second superseding indictment. There's nothing in there about endangering the lives of informants. There is no such crime. You cannot really reveal the name of agents, government agents, but informants are not protected that way. So that's the first thing to consider. But secondly, the lawyer Summers made it clear that it was, first of all, Julian was very intent about redacting the names of people whose lives could be at risk. And in fact, he claims, the lawyer, that the David Lee of The Guardian phoned a journalist at the Der Spiegel to complain that Julian was taking too long with these bloody redactions. That's number one. Number two, it was only when David Lee and Luke Harding published a book in which they put the password to the unredacted and encrypted documents. In other words, this was the State Department cables. They were rolling them out slowly. They were every time before publishing with his partners, Julian's partners at The Guardian, The Times, and Der Spiegel, they would redact and edit these documents. So Julian was rolling them out slowly, but here The Guardian put in a book the password to the entire 250,000 documents. And Julian calls the State Department. You could see it in the film Risk by Laura Porteous when he does it. She filmed it. He calls State Department and asks for Hillary Clinton, and then lets them know that they have a problem, that this has been released now. So that was not the doing of Julian Assange, it was the doing of The Guardian. They claimed that that was a password that was going to expire within hours, and WikiLeaks says that's untrue. So I could go.
All right, so I'm gonna jump in here for a second. And so this is the discussions that we have online where people say, well, Julian is such a good guy. Why won't he just say he got the documents from Seth Rich? Well, because obviously, when you are dealing with levels of information that are that sensitive, you have to have a degree of integrity, right? Integrity. You don't get to just say who you got it from, when you got it, how you got it. Now, mind you, Seth Rich is dead, but that's not the point. Well, he's not dead, he was murdered, and the DC police just refused to investigate it. But we know who did it. We don't really have to go through the details of that. The point is, Seth Rich has a family. Seth Rich, at a certain point in time, you still gotta stick to the integrity of what you're doing. And that's why you, as someone who is releasing information that's sensitive, you wouldn't say your sources, otherwise you won't get any more sources. Two, well, why didn't he talk about 9/11? Because I feel we have to deal with this because people are still attacking the guy and it's not about him. So why does I don't like what he said on 9/11, so he probably has to be CIA. I'm not done with this weekend. I had to flip out yesterday because it's the same illogical nonsense, illogical, senseless nonsense, nothing. Oh, Gerard is CIA because he doesn't agree with me. I flipped out this week. I had to flip out because it's nonsense. Because I don't agree with you because a polar bear is starving in the article I posted. Don't get me started. I don't even want to think about it because I'm gonna flip again. The point is simply this. You won't release everything that you know. I'll say it another way. What whistleblower with some common damn sense would go up against the biggest bankers, criminal-minded, Raytheon, General Dynamics, War Industry, CIA, FBI, MI6, all of them, put them all together, Spence Knots and all of them. The Congo, they got a deep state. You're gonna go up against all these people and you're gonna release all that you know. What whistleblower is that stupid? None of them, right? You're always going to keep some secrets to yourself. Why? Because the only thing that's going to keep you alive. You release some damning information, but then you hold back and say, well, you know, the only reason that the only thing that's going to keep me alive is I'm going to hold back maybe the 9/11 information. I don't know, maybe information on the Federal Reserve. Let your imagination go wild. But you have to use common sense. And this is why I'm saying that you can't trust the news. You can't let that drive what you believe. You got to use a little common damn sense, knowing how things work on the local level, and apply that to the national level or the global level. I got to show you something else, because the whole point of why I got upset was the whole sleep deprivation thing. I think that's on this one right here. I love me some
I'm Ashton Ratantia. We're going underground as UK-EU trade talks begin today to determine a post-Brexit future, while NATO nation media continues to look away from the case of arbitrarily detained Julian Assange, which may determine the end of free speech in Britain. Coming up on the show, Deputy Leader...
The end of free speech in the world. This has nothing to do with Britain. This is about the world. The people he's going up against own the freaking world because they own the Matrix and all the information in the media.
Leader of the Left Party in the German Bundestag, Sevim Dagdelen, calls on Labour leadership candidate Keir Starmer, accused of persecution of Julian Assange, to see for himself in court what the UN calls torture and arbitrary detention of the founder of WikiLeaks. Plus, forget coronavirus. Will Brexit opt-outs on multinational chemical companies catalyze mass insect extinction? All this and more coming up in today's Going Underground. But first, what was it actually like to sit in a London court last week watching an alleged travesty of justice as arbitrarily detained and tortured WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange fought for his freedom? One international observer was the deputy leader of the Left Party in the German Bundestag, Sevim Dagdelen, who, along with 32 other MPs from 12 different EU countries, witnessed arguably the most important trial of the century so far. Thanks so much for coming to our studio in London rather than in Berlin. Even before the trial, doctors were saying he may die at any moment. What was it like in court?
Terrible in many ways. It's just, I'm really appalled about the situation and the conditions, even for us international observers. I've seen so many trials worldwide, and I'm really outrageous about the conditions for us international observers. In the public gallery for observers, there are just 24 seats, 6 for the family members and 18 for international observers. And we always have to queue there and wait for about hours just to make sure that we can really go and follow the case in the courtroom and not in a media annex room where you cannot listen, we cannot hear something from the courtroom. And in another way, it's terrible too, because to see how the conditions are which Julian is facing. I mean, he is a really gentle, human journalist who haven't had done a crime, and he's treated like a top terrorist behind bulletproof glasses in the back of the court, which is just because of him, and he cannot follow the court, and he cannot hear the court even, just hardly he can hear and listen what's going on. And I think these conditions are not adequate for a state which is saying the rule of law is totally accepted here.
Because there is no rule of law. What is this about? This is the same reason you don't get to see what happens in your courtrooms, is because you can do things in the dark that don't outrage people. They actually went in and showed cameras, pictures of him in the court trial. If we actually had honesty, if this was about democracy and the rule of law, you'd be able to see all of it. If it was about equality instead of kings ruling poor people. The same reason that you can't see in the courtroom is the same reason why the laws are written in pig Latin. So you won't read them, right? They don't want you to see what happens. They don't want you to realize that this is not justice. Somebody mentioned he's Australian, right? Well, he's Australian. That's what this is about. It's about having the ability to kill and imprison any journalist anywhere on the planet if any nation in the West, any deep state bank working operative chooses to grab that person. So no one will say anything against war. So this is really about, it's just about a matrix, because he is an Australian citizen. Jimmy asked, is this copyright? Nope, news is never copyright. You can share it anywhere you want. Let me see, what else? When I was thrown into a hole once at night, they dragged their mag lights across the bars purposely to wake me up every half hour. So sick people, yes. Oh, Brother Daniel, come on with the truth, right? Exactly. Or so, sick people with major dark egotistical mindset who love that kind of gig. It takes a certain breed. It does, Daniel, but it also takes just bananas, right? Like, I mean, what it's about, these COs, the prison guards, they're there to do a job. They're there to make money. And that's the whole thing about controlling capital and controlling the human race by putting money between them and survival. People will do the dirtiest things for money. That's how you break a human being, and you take a monkey that evolved to do predatory acts and turn it into a monster, right? By giving it a bank account and a job. And they do that to you. And this is what happens in these prisons, Daniel. I got stories from prisons. My friends tell me the stuff that they dealt with. That's why I'm saying is that people don't know, Daniel. I appreciate you saying that. People have no damn idea, right? Because they've never been on the inside, or they don't know anybody who's been on the inside. They treat you like you're trash. And it's not even about you being Assange. They'll treat you like you're trash because it makes them feel better. Just the same way people do out here. Right? How do you make yourself feel better? You make somebody else feel worse. And you got a whole bunch of monsters going around and do that. Same thing with the guards in there. And the worse they treat you, the less you feel like you're a human being, the more you feel responsible perhaps for things you didn't do. The more that you will want to get out of there. You'll cop a plea, you'll plead guilty, you'll do anything you have to do. And this is why they tortured Assange. So I appreciate that example. Absolutely. Exactly.
Well, he did commit a crime of minor bail violation, and the person who is about to perhaps lead the new Labour Party after Jeremy Corbyn said he has absolute trust and faith. He took time out in this court process that you were at.
Well, I would invite him to be in the court with us, with parliamentarians from different countries of the European Union. It's not just me as a German member of the parliament with some other Germans. We are from Ireland, we are from Italy, we are from Spain, we are from Portugal, from France, and some other countries. I would really be happy to have British colleagues from the British Parliament here. I was wondering, where are they? Because it's such a case where you have international attention and interest, and it's not just us parliamentarians who are observing this case. It's the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, the Human Rights Commissioner of the Council of Europe. There are so many parliamentarians worldwide who are very concerned about this case, and I really don't understand, to be frank, what's going on in the British Parliament with my colleagues that they don't have...
There was not one British politician with you.
No, and I mean...
Because they ain't stupid. That's why. They ain't stupid. Come on, man. The Britons kill people like Americans do. Come on, they will give you Bob Marley foot cancer. And right, and that's what actually this is partially also about, right? That CIA whistleblower who, we don't know how true it is. Once again, you can't trust anything in the media. But the CIA guy on his deathbed who said, I killed Bob Marley. He said, I killed, 12 people, and the only one, or 17 people, I forgot what it was. And the only one I regret is Bob Marley. Like, just having that information, if you take that, all right, somebody, why don't you do this? Get a pen and do it, but don't do it. Do it, but don't do it. Just pretend with an air pen and write, the CIA killed Bob Marley. And that little sheet of paper right there, that incriminates you. That's classified information. You holding that sheet of paper right there means they can throw you in prison indefinitely. Thank you, Bush. Thank you, Obama. Thank you, Trump. So in Britain, and I don't know Britain's laws, but I do know that they follow right with America, America right with Britain. For every law you have in America, you almost have almost equally foul law in Britain. Because they're homie lover friends when it comes to this Bank of England who actually controls all of this. Right? So why are there no British politicians there? The same reason Trump does exactly what Bush did. And Bush did, and Obama did exactly what Clinton did, and they all do the same damn thing. Because you have a powerful elite that control the world. You don't have nations. You have politicians who are just doing a job, not providing a service to the people, because the people don't matter. The people are the enemy. That's why he's enemy number one. If enemy number one is a guy who just told the people some truthful information or created a platform to allow whistleblowers, the people who work on this stuff, to say the truth in military and police and everyone at FBI, CIA, if he is enemy number one of the state, then you should know that this is a hell of a lot bigger than what anybody thinks. He's actually going after the global elite. There are only two sides in this. You are either for the matrix, you are for this idea that people don't own information, or you believe that the state should own the information. Those are the only two choices.
If they are so secure and so secure about the case that the rule of law is accepted here and the conditions are okay with the rule of law, why they don't just come and see what's going on in the courtroom?
Okay,
I mean, I just invite them. I invite the candidate who is running for the leadership of the Labour Party, come with me as a comrade and see what's going on in the courtroom.
Well, it again could...
Plausible deniability. The British politicians will not show up the same way the American politicians don't do a damn thing for Americans. They're not going to show up. You can beg and plead and all you want. They are under British law. They will be shut down. They're not stupid. This is why I tell people, all you got to do is ask the politicians off the record. Just go ask them off the record. If you know them, and you know any politicians, ask them off the record what's really going on. Off the record, politicians in America, pretty much everyone I talk to, they don't lie. They tell you the truth. They don't control anything. They're told what to do. And the ones who think that they have some control, they'll explain to you that the highest up in the parties are the ones taking the money from the same corporations that all the parties do, and that they don't let them say things that are true. They don't let them do things for the people. They're not allowed to tell the truth. So politicians, you have to read between the cracks, right? Like I keep yelling, use common sense. Why are no British politicians showing up? Because they're telling you the only way they can, that they can't go up against these people, right? I had a congressman sat there, right, and told me, said, oh, well, I said, is there any way we can fight this? How do we fight this whole thing that's happening globally? He said, you can't fight it. You can't fight it. You don't even know who these people are. He said, you can't fight it. He said, live your life and just try to enjoy it. The politicians are scared to death. And this is an example of it. This is why voting doesn't matter. And Mark Twain said, he said, voting mattered. They wouldn't let you do it because you're a slave. They own you. Who's that, Jimmy? Look at the angry face. Is that Jimmy? I saw Jimmy popping around. He's like, Bernie, that's what I'm trying to tell you. They own you. They own Bernie too. They own Trump. They own Obama. They own May, Merkel, all the British politicians. They own it all. And they want it all. And they're going to get it all. Because they literally control the entire matrix. Brother Jimmy.
Convenes in May, of course, depending on the health of Julian Assange. The magistrate, Vanessa Barreza, she's an impartial woman presiding over the court proceedings, isn't she?
Well, it was very weird what happened last week. When we came together to the court and she just asked in the afternoon, Julian, if he can concentrate on the trial and on the proceedings. And because it's in the dock and he cannot very well hear what's going on, because we had this problems from the beginning. On Monday to the 24th, the trial started, and we had this Julian and the media and the observers had the problem to follow sometimes, because sometimes they don't speak into the microphone. Sometimes you cannot hear the judge at all because she doesn't spoke to the microphone. Or even she started the proceedings while Julian was not in the courtroom. I mean...
Right. And so this is what we talked about. This is why law is written in Latin. So most people won't read it. Unfortunately, I'm an obstinate bastard. I don't like authority. That's why I read laws. I started in my 20s. So he's in a cage, bulletproof cage. He can barely hear what the judge is saying. And when he's not there, sometimes the judge continues on. They don't really care. Like, that's the whole point, to keep him in the darkness. This is the whole point. And he's in the dark. And that's the other part of it, is they keep him up. They don't let him sleep deprivation. They don't want him to defend himself. They don't want an honest and fair trial. It's a kangaroo court. Somebody asked who the angry face is. That's Brother Jimmy. Because I can see it right here. If you've never done a live stream before, you can actually see who does the angry and happy faces. So I know who I'm pissing off and who I'm not. But so when you do the angry faces, which I joke because it's kind of fun, it lowers, your video so less people see it. When you do happy faces and you do loving faces, then it shares it out to more people. Brother Jimmy likes Bernie. He thinks that Bernie's butt cheeks, because Bernie's left butt and his right butt in the chair that Trump is sitting in, he'd rather put Bernie's butt cheeks right there and instead of Trump butt cheeks. And he thinks it's gonna make a difference. And I keep saying it's not gonna make a difference. That's not how the world works. I know it feels good, but the state will never give you the tools to change your enslavement. We keep talking about this, and so that's why he does it. So yeah, well, you know what? So I laugh about angry faces. What's my stance on that? My stance is this. Now, I don't want to be too popular because I have no interest in the CIA giving me foot cancer. That's number one. But when it comes to important things, I'm not talking. I'm letting them talk. When Chris Hedges is talking, this lady is talking, Julian Assange is talking, somebody who's saying free speech, someone who's doing something at a principle level, and we're not just making jokes, I need to see some happy faces and some likes. I can't say that, but I just said that because it's not about me, it's about free speech. It's about the principle.
And he is a defendant. You have to wait till he is coming in to the courtroom. But then they started just the proceedings sometimes, and that means this is disrespect about this court and the trial at all. And then she asked him in the afternoon if he felt good and his well-being and can concentrate. But Julian wanted to speak up, and she didn't allow it. She said he has to speak to his lawyers, and then the lawyers will tell the court. But the problem was then Julian said, what's the point of asking me if I can concentrate if I not at all can participate in this courtroom? And she said, well, you are a participant like any other defendant. And then he said, well, I am as much a participant of my own trial as I am a participant in the Wimbledon, because he's in the dock, he is behind. He cannot have confidential communication with his lawyers. There are everywhere cameras, there are spies, there are microphones. He cannot communicate privately. He says the other side, the US, the prosecution, has 100 times more hours to communicate, because in the back of the prosecutor there are representatives of the State Department of the US, and there are representatives of the US Embassy.
Hang on. I gotta stop because I haven't watched this before. I don't watch this stuff. I gotta stop. Both Fine just reminded me of something. No, I'm not gonna get a monkey butt because no. But I'm gonna see if I can find a kangaroo butt. Can we find I need a kangaroo because this is a kangaroo court. Has anybody here been to court before? You know what court is like? You know, they have a process and you have a time you can speak and the time you can't speak. This is actually why, we got a kangaroo butt. Hang on, this is a kangaroo court. We got kangaroos for both fine. This is why I used to actually help parents in family court, because the court has a process. They have documentation, there are times you can speak, times you can't speak. And the way the family court's set up in America, which is pretty much the same way it's in Britain, because we actually work with a lot of people in Britain way back then, in the UK, is that they set it up so you can't represent yourself. You have to go get a lawyer, right? Once again, why all the laws are written in the languages that they are with all the codes that they do, so you won't do it. Poor parents can't afford to fight for their kids and get lawyers, so we would teach people how to defend themselves, what the documents were, how to fill them out, and how to speak to the judge, what to say, what not to say, the laws that were written that are designed to trip people up, because back then that was human trafficking. It still happens today. In divorce, and that's how I fell into that. But that's when I spent most of my time in the court, when I really started to realize that this stuff is crazy. Like, it's literally designed so you can't defend yourself. It's designed so the judge makes money, the lawyers make money, government makes money. So I got to find a little kangaroo butt. Hang on. Just for both fun. Because it's a kangaroo court. You know, he doesn't have any time. He can't talk to his lawyers. And when he does, it's all recorded. Why? So they can have a quick rebuttal. They know everything that he's planning and preparing. He didn't even kill anybody. Think about that. He didn't kill anybody. He didn't rape anybody. He didn't genocide any countries. He didn't topple any governments. He didn't start any wars. And he has more rights than every single serial killer you can think of and everybody in Congress. So I just want to go back to that. I need to find a kangaroo, because this is a kangaroo court. But this is what they'll do. This is what they'll invest to come after somebody important. Important people they don't go after. But most importantly, like I said, which is why I don't think it has nothing to do with Assange. He's just a patsy. Like Obama's a patsy, like Trump is a patsy, like you're a patsy, I'm a patsy. We're all a patsy because everybody's a patsy in the Matrix. Everybody's a patsy within the Matrix. The only way you get out of the Matrix is you stand on principle. And so that's why I'm always going back to the stand on principle. All right, let me get back to it. I always stand on principle because you don't know what's true. You don't know what's true at all. You never know what's true. If you stand on the principle of free speech, then you know where you need to land when it comes to this nonsense.
They can communicate, they can exchange immediately while the proceeding is going on. But Julian cannot do this. And even the prosecutor was okay to say, we are neutral, we are not against that Julian Assange can sit next to his lawyers to communicate with them, but the judge refuses. And this was really bizarre.
No, it's not bizarre.
Said that the prosecutors representing the American government, the United States government,
Yes.
they became worried that a mistrial could happen because she appeared to be unfair. She also said, Vanessa Barreza, she could do nothing about the fact that after day one in court, Assange was handcuffed 11 times, stripped naked twice, and all his defense papers were taken away from him.
Yes, and he had to change 5 cells within this night. And I mean, I know Julian Assange personally since 2012.
Handcuffed. All right, just imagine this. You got to go to work tomorrow. You got to go to work. Imagine if before you got to go to work, somebody came in your house, stripped you down twice, made you change the bed 5 times, and handcuffed you to the bed. What, they say twice? How good you gonna be at work the next day? Think about it like that. This is why it's psychological torture. It is warfare. They're treating him like he is an Al-Qaeda, ISIS. They're treating him like they would treat somebody in one of those groups that they made. They are treating him like he is the worst man on the planet. And that should tell you every damn thing you need to know. If the people who take all your freedoms and the people who are destroying your climates, destroying your ecosystem, using weather weapons, blowing up the world, dropping buildings on babies, and will throw you in prison for anything. When people who oppress you and treat you like you are dirt, and tell you that your children are dirt too, and raise them in this same artificially scared planned obsolescence planet they're destroying before your extinction, if they tell you that this is criminal number one, if they invest that amount of money and time and energy to put this man under the prison, I can't understand why. I don't even know what to do. I don't get Orange Man bad, and I don't get Assange Man bad at all. Especially those of y'all who are leaving kids here. You're leaving kids here. And you don't want free speech. It boggles my mind.
And I was pretty much shocked when I saw him on day one.
Well, what did you make of the judge saying she couldn't do anything about that? That's up to the prison that he's in.
Yeah.
Connected to this court.
Yeah, that's absurd from my point of view. That's absurd because...
Correction. I'm sorry. Susan corrected me. Thank you, darling. Appreciate that. I misspoke, y'all. I misspoke. It happens all the time. No, because if he was ISIS, they'd be sending him guns and weapons. They'd be taxing the American people. They'd be taxing soldiers in the United States and Britain and sending that money with weapons and guns and drones to him. Good point. I'm sorry. They're treating him like somebody in ISIS who's off narrative. Everybody in ISIS and Al-Qaeda are fighting exactly the wars that Obama and Bush and the administrations and the Trump administration and the ones that they're paid to for the banks that own all of this nonsense. They get weapons and they get support. They get air support. Assange doesn't get that, and that's why the kangaroo's butt is circled, because this is not the standard kangaroo court. This is the anus of the kangaroo for the court. That's why. I'm sorry. Thank you, Susan, for correcting me. If he was ISIS, they'd be calling in an air support right now. No, he's acting like he's not doing what they paid ISIS to do, which is to start conflict, because all conflicts are profitable. The same reason the climates are being changed. Why? Because all conflict is profitable. And you can't fight people who have secret technology that modify global cloud cover and whatever the hell else they're doing.
Well, she is the judge of this trial. She has the responsibility that the defendant is in health, that the defendant is not mistreated by the personnel, the staff of the prison. She is the responsible person that this trial is going under the rule of law. And if she is not intervening as a judge, that means that she is coming along with the situation.
Were you there when...
Hang on, I got another theory. I don't know. Maybe, I'm not sure. You actually have a lot of good judges. Let me be clear. That was kind of rough. I'm rough on the doctors and the judges and lawyers. I'm rough on the job, the description, politicians. They're probably all good people, but the descriptions are what are foul. There are some judges that will defy the court and actually do things to help people. I've seen it many, many times when I was, like I said, in family court a lot. There are a lot of very good judges out there, but they can't openly defy. Unfortunately, a judge can't be a whistleblower against the bench, but they can do things that maybe have trials thrown out of court. Maybe perhaps this judge is making sure that it's obvious there's a problem here. The same way the British politicians won't show up. The British politicians won't show up because they know how corrupt and dirty their government is, and they really can't control these systems that are already in play. Maybe the judge is doing it so it can be thrown out. I don't know. Maybe they're just doing it to wake everybody the hell up. Maybe all of this is helping people who can't read between the cracks, read between the cracks. Maybe.
Suddenly...
Oh, wait a minute, something else. Somebody else said something. Fear will expose them more and more. Yes, Jennifer, and I think it will. Because that's what this is about. It's about fear. They are obviously concerned with something. They don't want you knowing what's true. That's it. They don't fear anything else. They don't fear your guns. They don't fear your revolutions. They don't fear your ignorance, your anger. They don't fear the Democrats fighting the Republicans or this party, that, or whatever. They don't fear none of that. They just fear you knowing the actual truth of what actually is going on. I think in this way, maybe the judge is being a whistleblower. Maybe the British politicians are kind of whistleblowing in the only way that they know how, because they don't have a WikiLeaks where they can release anonymous information and get away with it. Fear, when you see fear in your state and the state is the one that's oppressing you, you need to run with it. Because all the politicians can do is just like release little hints like this, like that judge perhaps. That's all they can do. It's up for us to make the decision. It's not on them, it's on us. You know, which is why I'm not upset with Brother Jimmy or Bernie, none of these folks, because Bernie ain't supposed to do nothing. It's not his job. It's not the judge's job to create a justice system. She's just doing a job to get biscuits and put biscuits on the table, and this is the job. It's not any American's politician's job to help the people. The job is to do what gets that political party more money, which is usually coming from corporations, which means you're doing more for corporations than they're doing for people. They're just providing a service. We're the ones who can object. We're not objecting. We're squabbling and fighting over whether or not Assange is CIA, right? It's the same little silly arguments that people get in, right? There are only two sides on this. You stand with the people or with the state, and you got to make a choice.
They asked, is the editor-in-chief of WikiLeaks, Christian Raffenson, is in the court? And for no apparent reason, they wanted to throw him out the court.
Yeah, it was just, another shocking moment. We were waiting in the entrance to the public gallery room together with Kristen. And I have to say and add, every morning, it's the same procedure with the staff of the prison and the court. It's actually the court. Every morning we have the argue as international observers. Every morning we have to show our diplomatic passport, and that I have to show the letter, the email of the government, the Ministry of Justice, that I'm on the list as an observer and I can go through. And every morning it's the same procedure. They deny and they don't leave me go through to the court. Every morning. And
make it painful. This is why we don't like to go to court. Nobody like to get stripped naked. That's why I don't like going to the buildings in Philadelphia, anywhere, my state capital or anywhere. I don't like going. Because I got to strip down. It's like getting on an airplane. You got to take your shoes off, your socks, pat it up. They basically treat you like you're a criminal going in. Nobody want to do that. But if you can make it painful, then less people show up to the trial too. Somebody posted something. What are y'all talking about? What did somebody say something if G could see? What's going on? What am I supposed to see? What did I miss? While I'm trying to see if I missed something. Thank you for Gerard for sharing. Chantel Lucero is not my option. I don't have a choice. I have children. I have children. I like food and oxygen. I like to live and eat. And I don't like the idea of having a global elite of bettors who own a matrix and dictate what's true in the media. At one day in the future, Chantel, I would love it if like free speech came back for journalists. We had independent voices where journalists were allowed to say what's true. We live in a world where they're fearing for their life because we're too lost that we can't stand up on the fact and the principle that everybody has a right to free speech, not just journalists, but everybody. We need judges who have rights. We need a judge who can stand up on the bench and say what they need to say. We need lawyers too. We need people in the British politicians. They need to have they need to have the ability to have a free speech. But you can't have that when these people can all catch foot cancer. These people all can have 5G tuned up in the neighborhoods that they live. They can all have their kids taken. Right? This is how kings and lords always maintain power. And the politicians aren't the kings and the lords anymore. The politicians are captives like we are. You have banks and corporations that run everything and call all the shots. So it's not really my choice. Like, Chantel, we're either waiting till extinction, we're still playing these little monkey games, or we're finally standing up and saying, no, equality for everybody, free speech for everybody. You don't get to silence people because you want to. Like, this is abuse. This is how this works. This is what an abuser does to a woman. This is what happens when an abusive husband has a wife and he wants her to shut up. He beats her into submission. He gives her that fear. So you might as well go ahead and take America, put a wife beater on, because this is exactly what this is. Take the British government, put wife beaters on. They're just beating people into submission, and they're being beat into submission. It's fear. Fear. But we can't be afraid anymore. That's why we do this. We finally have to stand up for what is right, and we got to stop playing these games.
And this morning we had a discussion with Kristen as well at the gate. And then after that, at the door to the public gallery, the staff was asking him if there is the chief editor of WikiLeaks. And we said, do you mean an editor or someone special? And he said, yes, someone special, Kristen Hafson. And he said, yes, I am here. And they said, the staff then said, you're not allowed to go into the public gallery. You have to leave the building, the court. The whole building, he had to leave. And we said, why? And who said this? From who comes this decision? They said from the court, but I don't know why. So he had to leave the building.
Of course, Britain says this is independent of the United States.
Which one?
Are you about to tell me that you think the United States, which says WikiLeaks is a terrorist, non-state actor?
Yeah, well, no one explained us this decision. John Shipton, the father of Julian, he went out with...
Hang on. Good point. He is a terrorist. They probably, number one, have never invested in capturing any other terrorist more than Julian Assange. They fear this man as much as they do bin Laden. They fear him or a narrative or a model he's promoting, allowing whistleblowers to say truthful things to the people. They invest more to go after them than they did Saddam Hussein, bin Laden, any of them, right? Someone said, I was ignoring YouTube for a second. Hang on. Miss Tree is saying, just by participating in social media, we write the changes necessary for the power trippers to control the narrative for them. Absolutely. It's comparable to your attitude on voting, Gerard. You know what? And I don't really, I guess I have an attitude on voting. I don't know, attitude. And to me, it's common sense, Miss Tree. It's like, if you are my slaver, I'm not voting for you. Right? Like you got slaver who's got a red shirt and slaver who has a blue shirt, and I'm picking cotton, and I'm just like, no, I'm not an attitude. I just literally don't like slavery. I don't like people lying to me, taking my rights. And so for me, not voting just has to do with the simple principle that I'm not a slave and I don't want my kids to be a slave. But this is necessary, and people participating is the issue, Ms. Tree. Like, I think that, like you guys and what you do in terms of sharing, subscribing to things that you think are right, and sending them little hearts and likes, you're doing more than anybody who's running their mouth on these cameras, right? Because you are influencing more people, right? We might throw some stuff out there, and I'm just trying to promote them. But you influence more people, because the more people who watch this, the more people it gets advertised to. The more you like it, the more people see it. The more you share it, the more people. So it's people participating who will make the difference, right? There are no big names. There's no leaders in any of this. And so what you said is spot on. When people actually finally start to get involved and stop outsourcing their energy and power to politicians to do it for them, then beautiful things happen. Assange terrorized him. Absolutely, Sharon. Can I change that up a little bit? Because it's not necessarily the man Assange. Like, they're not scared of Bernie, they're not scared of Trump, they're not scared of any of these politicians, nothing. They can kill all of them anytime they want to. It is the precedence he set, right? It is the precedence set by the idea that their citizens are allowed to know what's true. And that's what all this is about. They don't necessarily fear him, they fear people realizing that this is a scam. They fear people realizing that GDPs and enslavement, forced labor, capitalism, blowing up nations to steal their resources, toppling their government. They're scared that people will realize that. They're scared that their people will realize war is hell. They're scared to realize that when you send the US military and the British military, the Australian military in, that they're gonna murder children. They're scared to tell you that. They don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that good people die in war. They don't want you to know the ugliness of what the soldiers will tell you, which is why they're committing 22 suicides a day. It's probably greater than that. That's what they fear. They fear you. They don't fear me. They can kill me. They can fear me. They don't fear me. They don't fear Assange. They don't fear her. They don't fear any of that. They fear the precedence of their slaves knowing what's true. If the slaves know there's a better way to live, that they don't have to live like the criminals, they're going to stage a revolt on the plantation. They're going to say no, a peaceful revolt. They're going to stage a revolt and say, you know what, I ain't picking cotton today. You can go to hell. Right? You got free energy. I have no reason to be at work. You can use robots to do all of this. I can be home raising my kids, loving my family, building the world the way it actually is on technology that's damn near 100 years old now. They're afraid people will figure out this global scam from everything from free energy to fossil fuel, increasing climate change, corporations destroying ecosystems. They're afraid people will figure out that they live a lie. They're afraid people will figure out that they're literally living in a matrix and it's all a lie. We've all been lied to since day one. But it's not Assange they fear. It's adults they fear. The children they're happy with. Orange man bad, Assange man bad, Obama man bad, Bush man bad, Brexit bad, Brexit good. They're fine with all of that. They have no fear of that. They own the politics. They own all sides of all the narratives. They just fear us growing up and finally saying, you know what, I can pull my big drawers up, I can pull my big panties up and make my own damn decisions. But first I need to know what's true. And that's part of why Miss Tree, I don't know who I'm talking to, but that's part of why I'm thinking about Miss Tree, that the whole voting thing with me. It's not even about being on a slave plantation and picking my new master. It's about, if I'm not even allowed to know what real technology is, I live in a false reality that they designed for me. I can't make any good damn decisions because they own all of the media. What is it? 8 corporations own 80% of the media. They dictate what's true. They can put anything on your laptop they want. You can be a pedophile anytime. Who is that? Deborah? Deborah, you can be a pedophile anytime they want. They can load it right on your computer and prosecute you. They own the court system. They can make a good guy a bad guy. They can make Daniel black as hell and put him in prison. They can do anything they want to anybody at any time they want to. They can kill Bob Marley. They can kill US presidents. They're fearful that people will realize that whoever controls all of this is God. Not God, but a little g God. Bankers, robber barons, I don't know. You say it's Israel, I don't know, Rothschilds, aliens, whatever it wants you to be. The bottom line is you are a slave and they own everything that you know. And so for me, Miss Tree, on that one, I can't get down with voting because I don't know what's true. I have no idea what's true. And until I know it's true, they can all go to hell. You can take that lever, you can take the voting machine, you can take all of the non-password having machines, because y'all don't seem to know how to do IT, and shove it up your kangaroo anus. I have no interest in it. If I'm not allowed to know it's true, I don't know if it's a good decision. It's like the example we gave this weekend of being in the dark. How do you do something in the dark? If you're in a dark cave, you don't go nowhere. You don't go nowhere because you don't know. You might step on a rock, a snake, a scorpion, fall over a cliff. You can't see anything. And that's what they do, is they treat their citizens like mushrooms. They keep them in the dark and they feed them bullshizzle. And they're willing to go out and vote in the dark and they don't know anything. You don't have a vote if you don't know it's true. You know that. Like people say this to you, Miss Tree. I don't know how I'm talking to you again. Got me going a little bit. People tell you that, oh, you got to get out and vote because our ancestors died for us to vote. I said, if I had any ancestors that died to vote, Miss Tree, they dumb as hell and they should have just lived. Because I don't think any of my ancestors were that stupid. They voted for me to have a say in governing. If you, number one, if they don't count the votes. Number two, you got these electoral colleges. Number three, money decides the politics. Number four, you don't even know what's true. You're standing in the dark and you're voting based on what CNN says or Fox or MSNBC, and they all got their own little ignorant, bigoted, selective truth groups. But it's all within this big group of a US narrative or a British narrative or Australian narrative where you're only allowed to know certain things. That's not voting. You're not actually making a difference. You're not voting. You're being given selective information and somebody is treating you like a puppet and they're dancing you around. And because you're black or you're white or you're poor or you're from this class or this religion, you got this belief system or that one, and they own the internet and they pull in all the data, they can dictate to you how you will vote. That's not voting. That's called being a puppet on a string, being stupid as hell. All right, so yeah, in the dark. That's my last thing I'm gonna say on that, Mr. Tree. No, I'm not voting because I don't like being stupid. I don't like other people controlling my decisions. I don't like them controlling me because I see Bernie ads all day. You know why I see Bernie ads? Because of my age, probably what I say on the internet, and my race. Maybe my religion. I don't know. They dictate, well, here's the politician for you, and here's the belief systems that they give that politician to be the one for you. That's not voting. That's being in the matrix and doing precisely what the people who run the matrix want you to do.
With all the other family members to make a protest on this, and he said we're not going into the trial again if Kristen Hafson, as the chief of editor of WikiLeaks, is not allowed to go with us to this trial. And then after a while, they said, the staff of the court, okay, you're allowed to go in. The representatives of the Reporters Without Borders organization, they were totally outrageous about this issue as well, because they say that's an attack on press freedom, of course, if the chief editor of WikiLeaks is not allowed to go to the court, to the trial against the founder of WikiLeaks.
You see, the European Union has said nothing about this case. Do you expect that because they don't want to intervene in nations, although they arguably intervene in Catalonia, they intervene in France by allowing...
Normally, I have to say, of course, it's good if governments and the European Union, the Commission, is not intervening into the internal affairs of other countries, of sovereign countries. That's a good thing, actually. But then we have to be fair and don't do it in other cases as well.
But in this case, it's the Council of Europe, the United Nations.
Yes, and the thing is now, but it's not an intervention into the internal affairs of a sovereign country if you say we have concern about these attacks on press freedom by the Trump administration. It's because of the Espionage Act.
Before we go there, it is about intervening. Right? It's about intervening. That's what it's all about. It's about a certain few global elite owning the ability to own nations and topple any governments they want and set up new puppet governments. That's really what it comes down to. And that was Julian Assange's biggest crime. What came through is the website, right? The ability to question whether or not violation, because that's what intervening is. It's rape, it's gang rape, whatever you want to call it, war. invasion, whether or not a few powerful people own the ability to abuse anybody they want to anytime they want to. This is about domestic violence. That's what it is. Domestic violence. They usurp the authority to beat their wife anytime they want, and the citizens can't stop it. I link this stuff to domestic violence because it's the same basic principle. And it's a little emotional. Everybody knows somebody who's been beat up by somebody. Everybody knows a woman who was too scared to leave because the man threatened to kill her, would beat him up anytime he got drunk. And that's what this is. You literally have a drunk government, dumb as hell, that fall in line with this global elite, and they go to any nation they need to. They put that white wife beater on and beat the hell out of somebody. And it's fitting, but it's not fair because a woman who's battered by a man is significantly has more chance of survival than a nation that's bombed by government. But that's what it is. It's definitely about intervention. And this is how somebody posted a minute ago. Said the elite's not smart, right? That whole thing, don't call them elite. Well, they're not smart. But these are people, these are the children that this system was handed down to, right? They had a smart Rothschild. There's a smart Rockefeller, smart Mellon, smart whoever these Carnegies, whatever they are. They were handed a system. And the people, they're just taking the system that was given to them. But they're smarter than us. They're smarter than us, like globally. We're not standing up to them. We're agreeing with their slave plantation. We're not fighting the system in any significant way. We're too busy fighting other poor people. We're, fighting the left, fighting the right, fighting if Assange is bad, fighting if Assange is good, instead of standing on any principles. They're smarter than we are because they're in that position. Maybe not individually, but as a whole, they rule the world. It's easy for a slave to say, I'm smarter than master, but you know what? If you're working on his plantation, who's the fool? So whoever said that, yeah, I'm working on their plantation. It's obvious that they didn't got something that I don't have. They figured out they were handed something and they're maintaining their position. But I'm sure the damn one out here in the cotton field picking plantations, which I might even have to get off of here in a minute. So they know they're lazy. They're lazy and they're as smart as they need to be in the positions that they are to maintain all of this. Because you have intellectual people with LMPs, DMQs, degrees up the wazoo that I don't even know how to pronounce, agreeing with it, voting for it, and going along with it. So they're smarter than every PhD on the planet. Because apparently these people who probably didn't even go to college own the world.
He is prosecuted, and we are concerned about the fair trial here. If the rule of law is now respected here, that's not an intervention in.
The rule of law is not for rich people, it's only for poor people. And number two, what Ms. Tree said earlier, which is your participation determines it. I don't think it's determined whether or not how this trial is going to go. I don't think it's determined. I think that the stage play is happening and they're gauging the audience. We are the audience. They're rolling out the stage play and they're gauging the audience. Will people of the world go for this? Will people of the world go for not having free speech? Are they still calling him a treasonous traitor? Are they still calling him CIA? Are they divided on what we determine? If we are still divided and they think that they can get away with owning what is true all around the world, being able to murder any journalist anytime they want to or throw them in a US prison, no matter what nation they're from or where they are, or a British prison, they're going to do it. We determine the trial. The judge doesn't determine the damn thing. The judge is going to be told what to do. We determine the trial. Whether or not globally the people are going to take it or not, that's up to us. If they think we're not going to take it, if they think that we're going to step up, if they think that we're going to shut down, if we're going to believe in their system less, because everything is about profit and power, right? Everything is about maintaining control. If they think they're going to lose control because we determine that they are determining what the matrix what is true and false, then Assange will not go to prison. Assange will be released, and you will see WikiLeaks pop out of everywhere. You have WikiLeaks and Boo-Boo leaks and leaks, like all kind of leaks everywhere. You have people telling you about the Canova virus and people telling you about the UFOs and people telling you about geoengineering. Like everything, to me, as far as I can tell, everything's riding on this. Because I think they're gauging the global audience. Are the people still happily enslaved or have they had enough? And if they feel they can get away with more, they will. I think this might be a climax, y'all. This might be the moment. We might damn sure be right close to the G spot. And you know that's when you don't move. You supposed to you getting close to it. You starting to, when you're looking around and feeling out the situation, you realize, damn it, I'm almost there. You know, this is not a time to sneeze. This is not a time to cough and hiccup. This is a time you concentrate. Concentrate. Focus on what you're doing. All right? Focus on what you're doing. If this looks like it's a climax and they're investing all of this energy, the people that control us, in make sure that this doesn't happen, this is the time you need to be vocal. This is the time that you need to stand up and say, oh, hell no. We ain't gonna move. We gonna hit that G-spot. We ain't moving. If not, the mailman, shoot, the mailman might. The strong dude at Home Depot, you never know. You know, I'm almost there. You know, this is not where you fake the funk. This is where you come with the force, all right? Just process that for how you want to process it. But we're close. This could be a climax. All the things are lining up to make it look like they are trying to determine if we're going to take the red pill or blue. Give me the red pill, blue pill. All right, red pill, blue. You know what? I got to go. So I'm going to post the link. I'm going to stop with that. But I think this is the climax. They're investing too much. They're investing way too much to make sure that people keep fighting. This whole he might be CIA thing, that could have been started by the CIA. Because if I were the CIA, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. But then again, they did that to Martin Luther King too. They did that to JFK. You make him controversial, then we'll be okay with him being murdered. They did that to Bob Marley. They made it controversial so people are okay with him being murdered. They own all the information. They can make up anything they want to make up. So where we are, red pill, blue pill, this is where we are. I think we're at the climax. I think we are at the climax and we about to just make it beautiful, or we about to, where's the red pill, blue pill? Right here. This is where we are. Red pill, blue pill. Now I'm gonna read comments and I'm gonna roll. That's where we are. That's it. We're at the climax. Whether or not we're gonna allow this global elite to determine to continue to own the matrix. Whether or not we're gonna continue to stay in this damn, these little cells that they put the matrix people in. All right, good live stream. Well, thank you, Christine. I gotta go. I'm way over my time. Beaufont's gonna start getting on my case if I don't get out of here. Plus I gotta pick some cotton. I got I got a boss that I gotta make sure I keep happy. All right, only you can change it if you decide. Are disciplined and consistent? Absolutely, Kim. It's always up to us. It's always been up to us. You know, the question is whether or not we're going to do it. Whether or not we're finally going to say we are old and grown enough that we get to know it's true, and they're going to stop dictating what the global media is allowed to say. And that's why they murdered millions of innocent people during the witch trials. Yes, Daniel, indeed. The witches were onto something. They knew something, and they were acting free. They were healing people. They probably had some sort of alchemist powers that nobody now would understand. And that's probably part of why they killed him. You know what that reminds me of, Daniel? Is that site they just found in Turkey. They just found, well, it was 2017, they found an inscription. King, what was his name? King Harpo? He was the one, well, they didn't know who he was. But they found out from the new site that they found, this was last year, that it actually was the kingdom that killed King Midas, or that took down King Midas. King Midas, y'all remember King Midas, that mythological person that could turn gold or turn anything into gold? That's his daughter, turn her to gold. You take a rock, a lead, or whatever, turn it. And then it gets into all the things about the theories about the sorcerer's stone. It's funny to me that they would say King Midas is a mythological figure that could turn things into gold, and now magically we find a king, and he's not a mythological king that took down his kingdom, and he actually had a kingdom, and they're digging up the site then. There's a whole lot that we don't know, Daniel. There's a whole lot we don't know. There's a whole lot we don't know about who witches were, what they knew, if they were sorcerers or witches or warlocks, what kind of powers they had. We don't know. And from a scientific perspective, say that's crazy. You can't take lead and turn it to gold. Please read. Please educate yourself. Gold and metal are made of the same exact things called atoms and energy. You can reconfigure them any way you want. And if you learn how to reconfigure atoms to make lead, gold, all you're doing is rearranging molecules. It's just technology. That's all. It's not magic. It's just technology. And like a cargo cult, you know, if you show up to an indigenous tribe of people that are uncontacted and you just light a cigarette lighter, you just literally made air fire. They'll worship you, right? And so it might be an indication, Daniel, from going way back, that King Midas had a piece of technology. Somebody done left a tool from Craftsman tool from alien planet. Somebody from another dimension, he could touch something and turn it into gold. And he accidentally dropped it and touched his daughter's toe, turn her to gold. I think there's more truth in the ancient past than myth. And I think we have science now to say that this stuff is probable. And in reality, there is a time in our future where we will turn rocks to gold. That day's coming. You don't understand the human mind if you think that that's not going to happen. That day is going to come, right? Because everything we conceive, we achieve. Everything is just rearranged atoms. Of course, we'll be able to do that one day in the future, right? We're just not there now. So there's so much about. So I don't know if that's where you're going with the witch trials, but it's part of why we can't have any secrets. That's a part of the whole whistleblower thing too. They find these archaeological sites and they keep them secret. You know, I think that they know that there have been ancient, well-advanced civilizations that knew how to do things, whether it's what the witches did, King Midas did, the Egyptians did, building the pyramids, laser light, the tool marks that they find from all these archaeological sites, and they keep it secret. Because whistleblowers aren't allowed to say anything. I mean, the first one that tried was what, Mary Leakey? And they took her job. They took her ability to even make money. She showed that there were human footprints right next to dinosaur footprints, right? You know, all of this, it's all related to Assange. It's all related to whether or not you are allowed to know what's true, whether or not you're grown enough for your government to not have secrecy, whether or not they continue to keep owning history. See, I don't think that they own history. I don't think they have a right to it. I don't believe that there are any betters on this planet. I don't think anyone's better than you, and I don't think anyone's better than me. I don't think that anyone has a right to treat you like a child and dictate to you what you can know and what you can't know. And I think we're fools if we go for it. I think we are dumb as hell if we allow these people to dictate, whoever they are, because we don't know who they are. It's not the British government. It's not the American government. They're just pawns in the system. They're patsies like Assange is. This is about whether or not the human race is allowed to know what's true about their ancient past, about their deep state, about that free energy crap people call a UFO in that F-18 camera footage. Whether or not you're allowed to know what's true about war, whether or not your soldiers are allowed to come home and tell you what the wars are really about. That's what it's all about. All right, I gotta get going. Most leaders are men, so getting us to, I feel a climax is unlikely. Oh Lord. We're not gonna touch that one. We're gonna leave that one alone. Ew. No comment. Have a great, all right, Nikki, you have a good day too. I gotta get going. Electroplating could be. We have no idea. The Midas touch, Daniel, that's exactly what it's about. But we don't know. We're not allowed to know these things. And we don't even agree that we don't even agree that we can have a government that can keep those things from us. G says, gotta go. Who's betting? We're here another half hour. No, I gotta go, Deborah. I'm about to go right now. In fact, I have to go too quick. Linear thinking, conformity, and lies restrict us. Absolutely, Kim. We need to know what's true at all times, in all places, everywhere. We need to build a final, truthful world where there are no secrets kept from the people. Otherwise, the people aren't in control. You can really think about it that way. If you're not allowed to know what's true, then there is no we the people. We don't control anything. It's not our government. If we're not even allowed to know what's true of that government, it's not your government. Sand, clay, rocks, and minerals are all recycled death. They all are, Miss Tree. They absolutely all are. It has to happen repeatedly in order for archaeologists to find what they do where they find it. Right. And they need the ability to research it and open the site up. And the only way that happens is with grants, right? That's why you have a lot of your favorite scientists aren't allowed to really tell you the truthful things. If they don't have grants and jobs, they can't feed their families. And place between death and life, which is what the monetary systems do and the whole grant-based system does, it doesn't just create this ownership of truth through these narratives about Clovis first and nonsense like that, but it literally will take you out of the economic system and something you went to school to learn to do for 11 years if you don't go along with that standard narrative. So anyway, I gotta get going. Deborah Chandler is wrong today. I got to go. The powers of humans have been removed over a series of civilizations. We know we don't use all of our brain's original capacity. And I don't think that's an accident, Kat. I don't think that's an accident. I think the brain is probably the most powerful thing. And I think the chains that bind us, as Brother Pat's saying, is truth. That's the chain that binds us. We don't know what's true. And we're being kept in the condition that we are. But we also were turned off in many ways, whether it's the brain or the epigenetics and the fact that the telomerase enzyme doesn't repair our telomeres. We die at the age of 120. It means we can't be too smart. I think we're being controlled on many levels. From things that we won't go into right now because I gotta go. All right. Fools who've gotta do the cooking by the books. Oh, it's the way to put it, Miss Tree. They cook in the books. That's what they do. They cook the books. If you own what's true, you can cook the books any way you want. That's what the Assange trial is. I'll post a link. You can watch the whole thing on the trial. But they're cooking the books. If you know what that saying means in the United States. It means that you're deciding on something that they did all the math on. You're deciding on something that they already knew what you were going to decide when it was done. You can't allow a global elite of bettors to own what's true. You can't allow the master to own what's true in the plantation. All right, there you go. Listen, it's Gerard. Y'all have a great, what is today, Monday? It's Monday. Y'all have a great Monday. Best that you can. This is Gerard. Love y'all to death. I'm out of here. Brother Pat Riley. Free the people. And you ain't never going to free the people if you're not allowed to know what's true. Just grow up. Let's get it done. Gotta go. Y'all have a great day. Bye.